Dread twists my stomach into knots. My car winding its way down the familiar fynbos-covered mountain pass. Years have passed since I've returned home, yet absolutely nothing has changed. That's the thing about living in a small town, I guess. The same rusty signs, covered in bullet holes and graffiti, stand askew, welcoming me back. The same broken fencing along the side of the potholed road still hasn't been fixed. Sluggishly, my car pulls to a stop at the only traffic light in town. I breathe in deeply, my eyes focusing on the arum lilies that litter the overgrown fields. I don't want to be here. I already miss the city, the hustle and bustle, the smog, the old Gothic buildings guarded by gargoyles and the sound of the traffic. When the light flicks to green, my engine sputters to life, struggling in the icy winter morning. My fingers grip the steering wheel tighter. The Honda emblem shines into my eyes as I turn the corner onto Hazel Street. Everything I own in life is crammed into the cardboard boxes piled up on the back seat. Clothes and books mainly. An impressive collection of coffee mugs. I've never had much. Never needed much. Michael and I had bought everything together. The bed, the coffee table, my timber writing desk, bookshelves, wine racks, rugs, even coat hangers. The 3-seater sofa he positioned in front of the widescreen television so that he could watch sport or play Xbox. Everything was ours. There was never a question about what belonged to whom. He doesn't realise that he's gotten everything and left me with nothing. Now he's probably curled up on that sofa that we paid for together, with her. Memories I try to avoid lurch into my head. My heart hammers as I pull into my sister's driveway. The keys are cold and heavy in my hands as I trudge up to the front door. There's a build-up of mail that I gather up and drop on the console table once I'm inside. Dust greets me. Nothing more. There's a dank smell, like no one's been here for a while. No windows are open to let fresh air in. I kick a rock in front of the door and start lugging my boxes inside one by one. I can't quite bear to unpack them. Not yet. It's too hard. Instead, I wander through the hallway, staring at the framed photographs that travel along the wall. It's a strange feeling looking at a photo of both you and your sister and not being able to tell the difference. We're completely identical and yet nothing alike. It should be easier to tell us apart. Robin does ballet, and while I'm just as dainty as her, I've never been able to dance. I take a black and white photograph of her in a leotard, her willowy body stretched across the stage. She looks weightless. The girl in the picture looks just like me, yet couldn't possibly be. I sigh and return the frame to its hook. I touch the glass and whisper, "Where are you?" It's the first time I've spoken in days, and my voice shocks me. It breaks an unsettling silence, sending shivers down my spine. I'd sent Robin a message days ago, letting her know that I was coming to visit. I didn't think it necessary to go into the gritty details of my breakup. That could be done over a bottle of Riesling on her porch. She'd never responded to my message, which wasn't like her, but I had nowhere else to go, so I'd packed up my life and left my ex-fiance's house for good. Every time I think about it, it guts me. I've been trying so hard to push my feelings aside, ignore them. That's my coping mechanism, never dealing with the situation head on. Eventually, the pain will fade if I pretend it isn't there for long enough, right? I look through the rest of Robin's cottage for some kind of sign of her. There's an entire wall where her old, worn point shoes are dangling, some speckled with blood, showing her years of hard work in the dance industry. An old ballet bar she's using as decoration is coated in dust. She's always had a thing for plants. The sunflower sitting on her kitchen windowsill is perished. The leaves from her bonsai have withered and fallen off. A creeper plant crawling down her bookshelf is the only thing still alive, but the soil in the pot is bone dry. There's an old copy of Anna Karenina on her nightstand, the spine cracked and one of the pages is dog-eared. I can't remember a time that my sister's nose wasn't buried in a book. I flick through it now. She's always loved underlining quotes in novels. It's something that's always irked me. The first quote I find highlighted says, "Love. The reason I dislike that word is that it means too much for me, far more than you can understand." I place the book back down, sit on the bed. The sheets have a subtle lingering smell of her perfume. I breathe her in, hold my breath. I haven't been here for a while, but it doesn't seem like anything is missing. There isn't a gap in her wardrobe where clothes should be. Her Burberry travel bag is stuffed away on the top shelf. In the bathroom, all her toiletries are there. Full bottles of Tresemme shampoo and conditioner stand in her shower. I wander back out into the lounge area and pluck at the strings of her ukulele abandoned to one side of her sofa. It's horrifically out of tune. She used to post so many clips on her Instagram account playing it. I pull up her page now just to check. She hasn't been active for a while. River barks at something outside, her shaggy tail wagging nervously in the strange new environment. I trip on a crack in the tiles on my way to the window. This place needs a lot of work. Tree roots have lifted the flooring, mold has spread over the walls, and cobwebs dangle from every corner. Outside, someone's got their hands on my rusted car door, peering into the window. My skin prickles. Grabbing River's leash, I attach it to her collar and march outside. The man by my car instantly straightens up, his eyes darting from me to my dog. "Robin, you're back! Where the hell have you been?" He booms in an over-friendly voice. River snarls as he strides towards me. The hair on her back stands on end. His grin is too wide, showing a full set of veneers. He's on the larger side. Pale blue jeans straining around his waist and a collared shirt missing a number of buttons. The teeth don't suit the rest of his appearance. "Who's this then?" the man asks, smiling down at my dog. "River." Robin and River lied. "I'm not," I start, but he's already bending down, offering a hand out for River to sniff. She does so cautiously, but doesn't seem to warm up to him like she usually does with new people. When he stands back up, he tries to pull me into a hug. "I'm not Robin," I say, taking a step back. He laughs at this. "Very funny. You've had everyone worried sick," he says loftily. "I'm not Robin," I repeat, this time more firmly. He squints in the sunlight as he looks me over. It takes a few seconds for the realization to sink in. "Jesus, Piper?" I nod slowly. "Piper Brady. Never thought you'd be back in this hellhole of a town again," he chuckles. "I'm sorry, who are you?" "Cody. We were in preschool together, way back when." I can't place his features, but nod again. "You probably hear this all the time, but it's insane how much you look like Rob." His eyes are looking me over with fascination. You get used to that when you're a twin. "Still here then?" I ask, not meaning for it to come out the way that it does. A lot of people who grow up here never leave. I was one of the lucky ones, I suppose. Even though I can see him trying to hide it, I can tell that my comment has offended him. Robin and I worked together at the high school. She hasn't shown up for a while, so I thought I'd swing by to see if she's okay. He peers over my shoulder to the cottage as if trying to catch a glimpse of her. "How long has she been missing?" I ask. I don't know why I chose the word missing. It sounds alien and unnecessary on my tongue. Why hadn't I just used the word gone? She can't be missing. She's just wandered off again. Well, she's buggered off a few days before here and there, but she always prances back in like, nothing's ever happened. This time it's been weeks. I've been here a few times to check in, but this is the first time I've seen someone's car parked outside. There's been absolutely no word from her, and I'm sorry to say it, the school needs to start looking for a new teacher now. She's chanced her luck enough. When she does come back, she's getting immediately dismissed. He hands me an envelope that's addressed to her. I let his words sink in. Calcify. Weeks. It has been weeks since anyone last saw my sister, and no one told me. Coffee burns my throat as I take my tablets the next morning. I long since stopped punching the pills out of the blister pack one by one. Now I toss a palmful of medication into my mouth all at once. I grimace as I swallow, wondering to myself why the hell I still bother taking birth control on top of everything else. I'm at that stage in a breakup where if I never have sex again, I think I'd be okay with it. I can't imagine being with anyone else, starting anew, learning someone and letting someone learn me from scratch, telling the same stories of my life I'd shared with Michael, a repeat, just with fresh ears. What is the point? All these drugs, yet nothing works quite as well as nicotine. I bring the cigarette to my lips and let the menthol fill my lungs. Everything about Robin's cottage, the way that it's been left, makes it look like she just popped out for a walk or something. While I was scratching around earlier, I discovered her handbag. It had everything in it that she'd need if she was going away, her driver's license, bank card, passport. But what really shook me was the packet of pills. We're on the same medication. Without it, things can spiral out of control very quickly. It was when I saw the pills that things cemented in place for me. Something is really wrong. She's been missing for 49 days and counting. Holding the poster with her face emblazoned on it, above the bold missing text, is surreal. I'm so confused. We always had that odd twin connection. We could be oceans apart, but if she was down or vice versa, we'd feel it. No matter where we were in the world, if she was craving pizza, then so was I. Some call it telepathy. Now, I feel nothing. There's just this numbing, empty space where my sister once was. Navigating my way through life without feeling her running through my veins is the strangest sensation in the world. I really don't want to think of her as dead, but her sudden disappearance both physically and mentally has me suspecting the worst. If something has happened to her, rape, abduction, or God forbid murder, I'd like to think that I'd sense it. Instead, it's kind of like she was never there at all. Very much like Michael, my best friend, my lover. It's like he died. But worse, because he didn't. He chose to leave me. The loss of both my sister and Michael is too much for me to comprehend. I'm not holding it together. It's too much all at once. Not my sister. Not the man I was certain I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Please, no. A tear rolls down my cheek. I sit on the stool while I wait for my anxiety meds to kick in, pulling hard on my cigarette. I knock back the rest of my coffee. After putting up posters on a dozen lampposts, I stop at the high school. Cody wants me to chat to the headmaster about helping out while Robin's away. Her energy here is overwhelming. Flowers and cards decorate her classroom, gifts are stacked up on her desk, and messages from the students are scrawled across her chalkboard. I read them all, holding yellow chalk between my fingers, trying to think of what to write. I feel like I should leave something there, but there are no words. I'm so deep in thought I don't even notice when I snap the chalk in two. I spin the globe that sits atop her desk. As the countries and oceans blur together, the door behind me opens. You made it. Cody smiles meekly as he too takes in the room. Cody, I really don't think I'm what the students want. I try, pointing out that people will probably get spooked out seeing their missing teacher's identical twin sister. Plus, I can't teach dance. It's laughable. I could teach them art or acting in theory, but not how to prance around in revealing pink lycra. Nonsense. Come on, interview time. He winks. The interview went well, considering. Robin and I both studied teaching, and with the school in dire need of a new drama teacher, I was their first port of call. I agreed to be a substitute until my sister comes home. Both Cody and the headmaster looked at me with sympathy when I said that. It made me feel stupid, naive. I wake at around 2 a.m. again. I don't even need to check my watch anymore. Robin's spare room is suffocating, soulless. I pad into the living room and stir River, who, enviously, was sleeping peacefully. She follows closely at my heels as we walk through the garden in the dark. It's so cold that there's frost on the grass. The legs of my sweatpants get sopping wet as I circle a tree, contemplating the day ahead. It's my first day of teaching Robin's kids. I've had my teaching qualification for years, but I've never used it. The only reason I studied was because Robin hadn't wanted to study alone. As free-spirited as she is, it always amazed me how much she thought she couldn't do without me by her side. I always knew I'd head off and work overseas, earn the big bucks. The day that I'd left, we'd both cried, but I knew her separation anxiety was so much worse than mine. I watched my breath drift off in the darkness, bundling myself up in my plum-coloured throw-over. Once River's back indoors, I lock up, boil the kettle, and switch the lights on in the bedroom. I choose an outfit, a simple pencil skirt, a collared shirt, and a pair of black leather pumps. I have to laugh at how professional I look when I glance in the mirror. She was halfway through creating a ballet show when she disappeared. To be honest, I'd rather be spending my time turning over every stone to find her than teaching a bunch of hormonal teenagers. Sadly though, Michael took every penny I ever had when he left me, so I need this job, badly. From the moment I enter the classroom, I know that it isn't going to be easy. Over 20 pairs of eyes ogle at me as I make my way to the desk. They've been warned that I'm their teacher's identical twin sister, but nothing can quite prepare you for seeing a ghost. I try to get on with the class, get to know the students and their roles in their current production, but they all seem more fascinated by me. All they can see is my sister when they look at me. I can't blame them for being shaken up. I ask them if I can watch what they've been working on with Robin, and we all head to the hall. Everything changes when they get onto the stage. I see a beautiful side to each and every one of them. their passion and their talent. There's 2 girls and 1 guy that stand out to me. They are absolute naturals, fluid, authentic, and excellent. Chloe, Bibiana, and Luke. I make a mental note to keep my eye on all 3 of them. It's Luke that surprises me the most. He's a virtuoso in dance. He carries the entire class and gives more guidance than even I do. I feel quite inadequate in comparison. I wonder what Robin thinks of him. I hate that I've started using the past tense when I talk about her. There's been absolutely no progress with Robin's case. It's like she's just vanished off the face of the earth. My connection with her has been severed.